Long range after dark might be one of my favorite things to do with a precision rifle. When the sun sets, you get drastically different conditions. Typically, you get less wind, less heat mirage. When you look down range, you're going to be viewing an image through a clip-on device. It's a very different experience when the sun sets. But I tell you what, when you connect with a target down range in the dark, it is crazy fun. If you've been around my channel, you've seen me run night vision out to 1,000 yards and beyond with great success. With that, however, I've received a number of questions and comments around the experience, and I've noticed a trend. So what I want to do in this video is address, say, the top 5 questions that I get asked around long range after dark. And spoiler alert, if you're tactically minded, there's a couple of these that are going to be dead giveaways to your position. So if you're interested in long range after dark and my top 5 questions, then stick around. This video is for you. So what are the top 5 questions that I get asked? Well, probably number 1, what does suppressed muzzle flash look like from downrange? So we're going to knock that out in this video. What does the Signature look like from a weapon-mounted laser rangefinder downrange? I believe we all know, it's pretty common knowledge, that some of these have a visible laser that you're going to be seeing through night vision, while some of it is invisible. So we're going to compare both of those. Then we're going to take a look at white phos versus green phos clip-ons. So what does the image look like in white versus green, and what are the pros and cons of each? We're going to take a look at white light. How far can I shoot a white light after dark? Obviously, night vision can be very expensive. White light is a great alternative, but how far can you actually use it? And then finally, my supporter for this video, and it wouldn't be possible without See the Night, provided me a demo PVS 27. Now, the work that See the Night and Sureshot Night Vision are doing to bring beautiful white phos PVS 27s to the market is pretty epic. And wait until you see the image through the white phos PVS 27 that I'm using for this video. It is beautiful, and that's the unit that I was able to push out beyond 1,000 yards with success. Now, with that comes cost. Quite a bit more cost maybe than a used unit or a green phos unit. And I get asked, what is the value? Is the cost truly worth it? So I want to knock that out as question number 5 toward the end of the video. So if you like the sounds of it, stick around. My plan, we're going to move into each of these topics and just kind of hash each of them out. I'm going to give you downrange footage where applicable. I'm going to talk you through what I'm seeing. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to wrap up with a summary of my thoughts. So that's the plan for the video. From here, I've got to get a shout out to See the Night. It wouldn't be possible without See the Night Night Vision and the work they're doing with Sureshot Night Vision to bring beautiful white phos PVS 27 clip-ons to market. So if you're looking to get into the long-range night vision game, make sure you're checking out See the Night as well as Sureshot Night Vision to pick up a PVS 27 for yourself. Again, thank you to See the Night for their support and allowing me to make this video with their demo unit. If you decide to pull the trigger on your own clip-on unit, make sure you use my code MULLETS to save yourself $100. Let's move right into the footage and tackle our first frequently asked question. Alrighty, so first up is going to be weapon-mounted laser rangefinders. I've been putting out quite a bit of content recently with the different options on the market. And in many of those videos, you've been asking me, won't that give your position away? And in some cases, yes, it's going to be very obvious. So first up, let's start with the Impact 4000. And I'm just going to go ahead and range a target out there. So I just have a rough 0 on these. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to be ranging a target just to the side of where you're looking. So first up will be the Impact 4000 with just a range. .650 yards there. Now the interesting thing, you can see it pulsing. So I'm off the button and the unit is still pulsing for some reason. So let me hit the button again. All right, here we go again. So I hit the button to range, it's just a one-time press. So I wonder if that might have been maybe a malfunction there. Now the interesting thing, now you guys won't be able to see this, but downrange, when I range, the front end of that PVS 27 lights up so bright. So the laser reflecting off the lens of that PVS 27 is a dead giveaway of where that rifle is. That's crazy. I was not expecting that. I've also got the Vortex Impact 4000 backlit, so you can see I'm probably lit up right now. Alrighty, here we go. Let's turn that off. Okay, so next up will be the Tango Innos Fire 4000. Now that screen is just kind of normal brightness. I'm not even going to tighten it down. I just set it up here. It's roughly zeroed, so let's go ahead and give it a range. All right. That thing is so fast. And I tell you what, just like the Impact 4000, it lights up the front end of that PVS 27. So obvious. Next up is the Maztec 2K. And we'll just kind of point it out there, give it a range. Very different shape on the range. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to swap over to two of the military style lasers. First up will be my Wilcox Raptor. So I'm going to go ahead and just clamp it down. We'll just turn on to an IR setting. I'm not actually going to use any of the IR, but here we go. 650 yards, 653 yards. So as you can see, I am ranging, nothing visible. Okay. And here's the Maztec 15K. Now this is also going to be a military style laser. 660 yards. And as you can see, nothing is showing up. Now the interesting thing with the two that you cannot see in the night vision, I'm also not getting the reflection off the front of the PVS 27. The civilian lasers, yes, you can see them through night vision, but they're also reflecting off the front of the PVS 27, giving away the downrange position. So let me see if I can reverse this and give you some through the scope footage of what I'm seeing with these two different lasers. But ultimately, your weapon mounted laser rangefinder is likely to give away your position, especially if you're using one of the civilian style lasers. This is going to be extremely obvious from downrange. Really quick, I've got to jump in here and address the reflection off the front of the clip-on device, because prior to filming this, I had no clue how reflective the front lens of a clip-on or the front lens of your laser rangefinder could be under night vision. But as you could see, when that visible laser, just a little bit of a reflection, man, it's a dead giveaway of the other rifle's position downrange. So, interesting, after filming this, I actually started working with a company called Professionally Unprofessional, who has released a line of anti-reflection devices for clip-ons. So here they are on the PVS 27, they have them for the PVS 30, they have them for the Fire 4000 weapon-mounted laser rangefinder. They're in development for things like the Maztec X4. Had you asked me prior to making this video if an anti-reflection device was needed for a night vision device, I would have said, no, that seems crazy. But after filming this, if you're thinking about nighttime from a tactical perspective and what your signature is downrange, I do feel like anti-reflective devices are needed for nighttime work. And if you're in the market, make sure you check out Professionally Unprofessional, who has provided this unit here. Now, I haven't had a chance to get this out and actually use it yet, but if you look at the honeycomb on this, it's obvious this is going to break up that flash signature and reduce your position to someone that's looking for you downrange. So how about one more test here? I've got my Vectronix Vector X binos. So I'm going to point them downrange. I have no clue what I'm looking at here. Let me see if I can find something in the general direction. Okay. So let me go ahead and hit the range on those. I'm looking at something 600 yards away. You'll have to let me know in the comments. Now, obviously, I can't see anything, but just for illustration purposes, I'm going to be curious to see if we can see this one or not. I don't know. Let me know what you saw. So one of the questions I've received is how far can you shoot with a white light? So with that, I actually just recently got hooked up with the boys over at Modlight, and they sent out the HOG rifle light, which is on the left-hand side of my rifle. I've set up my full-size IPSC out there. Now, unfortunately, I don't think the scope mate is actually going to record the image, even though I have the light downrange. I think it's going to be too dark in the scope for the scope mate, but we'll give it a go, and I'll talk you through it. So let me just go ahead and turn on the HOG. There it is. There's my target. Let me arrange it. Full-size IPSC at 412. So let's call in for up 2.4. It's dead calm out, so let's just go straight up. Pat. Pat. compact. So pretty easy work right here at 412. I will tell you, when you shoot, the smoke or whatever does kind of wash out the image, so it makes it a little bit hard to spot what's going on, but let's push a little bit further. So when I was talking to Modlight about the HOG, they mentioned it was good out to 600 yards. So I've moved out to what should be the ballpark of 600 yards, and I tell you what, it's putting a light out there, but not the kind of light that would make a shot very safe. So I'll move the camera behind me so you can see what I'm seeing down range. There is light at 600 yards, and I can faintly see my white full-size IPSC, but when I get in the scope, it is just not shootable. So by eye, I can see the white plate out there just faintly, but when I look through the optic, it turns into kind of a gray, milky haze. So I can see the white plate in the gray, milky haze, but it's not clean enough that I would feel comfortable taking a shot. So there, say at 400 yards where we were, you know, it felt pretty good. I was able to see that plate, see the outline of the plate clearly. Now, where I'm at, again, the light is out there, it's just not where I would feel comfortable taking a shot. So I would say max distance, you know, on a white light like this HOG, which is an absolutely monster light, you know, might be 400 to 500 yards, it seems like, on a white full-size IPSC. If that target was anything other than white, I flat out would not be seeing it right now. So let's tackle suppressed muzzle flash and what that looks like from the downrange perspective through night vision. To do this, I've got a rifle downrange. I'm going to be using the scope mate camera to look through the white phos PVS-27 back at the shooting position. So you're about 600 yards downrange, you are going to be on 10x, and the image is just going to show what you would be seeing with your eye. I'm then going to fire a couple of rounds through each rifle with each different suppressor. So what we're going to be running for suppressors, first up is going to be the Fletcher Rifle Works Texas Flood. This is going to be a 30 caliber can. It's going to have a vented front end cap as well as a solid front end cap that I'm going to change out to show you what the vented versus solid is going to do. This suppressor is going to be on my HK MR762A4. I'm also going to be using the Knight's Armament 30 caliber CRS PRG CQB suppressor. So this is going to be a 30 caliber can. It is also vented or low back pressure, so there's vents around the outside there. 30 caliber can. It's on a 16-inch 308 barrel. That's going to be my PSA M110K1. We're going to run some rounds through my 5.56, my MR556A4. That's going to be an 11-inch 5.56. The suppressor that we're going to be using on it is going to be the B&T Print XH RBS. This is going to be a vented 5.56 titanium can. There's also going to be some Inconel inserts. It's going to be using the Griffin Armament hub adapter. So the cool thing about this can and the Fletcher Rifle Works is they are hub compatible. And the absolute best mounting system I've found, bar none, is the Griffin Dual Lock. Griffin's been a long time supporter of my channel, so I'm going to be using the Dual Lock to mount this up to the MR556A4, but keep in mind it is titanium and it is vented. The Fletcher Rifle Works is Alto titanium. So it's going to be interesting to see what a short barrel 5.56 looks like with this can. This is a very large can, a lot of volume here, so this one will be kind of fun. On the topics of suppressors, I've got to give a shout out to one of the latest channel sponsors, and that's going to be Silencershop. When you find yourself in the market to pick up that next suppressor or SBR, make sure you're using Silencershop to streamline that process. They make it so simple. They've got kiosks in your local gun store to go in and do your fingerprints, answer all the questions, and build your profile, which is then housed online. Then, down the road, when you want to pull the trigger on your next item, your profile's already there. You can go ahead and submit that paperwork remotely. You don't have to be there in person. You can work with your local gun store. You can certify together online. It makes it so simple. The other cool thing about Silencershop is the work that they're doing to expand our rights around the NFA. Now, we all know there's a ton of really wild stuff going on right now in the NFA world. You know, tax stamp is going to be going to $0 there in January. So with that, they're going to give you the option to purchase now, hold that item, and submit after January with 0 tax stamp. Now, the risk there could be lead time. If everybody starts doing that, lead times are definitely going to go up in January. So you can still purchase now and go ahead and submit your NFA paperwork right away, pay the $200 tax stamp. And I tell you what, right now, times are coming back 24 to 48 hours. There's never been a better time to actually go NFA than right now. And the other thing that Silencershop is doing is helping preserve and expand our rights. So with the NFA tax stamp going to $0 in January, now the precedence is there's nothing there to support the NFA and that process. So Silencershop is working to challenge that legally. So they're actually suing the ATF to expand our rights and challenge the validity of the NFA. So it's really cool to have the support of someone like Silencershop, who is making the process so simple to get our hands on these items, but also to preserve and expand our rights. So thank you to Silencershop. With that, let's move into the shooting portion and show you some muzzle flash from downrange. So the first one that I'm going to fire is the MR762. This has the Texas Flood from Fletcher Rifle Works on it, and it currently has the vented end cap. First rounds through the Texas Flood. That. Okay, there's 3 rounds. Alrighty, I just installed the solid end cap on the Texas Flood. Let's see what happens. Alrighty, next rifle. Next up, we have my PSA M110K1, and on the front is a Knights Armament CRS PRG CQB. So this is the smaller 7.62 can, and it does vent. So let's just run a couple of rounds. Exact same bullet and powder. Alrighty, next up. So the next rifle we have here is an 11-inch MR556A4. I'm running Wolf Gold 55 grain ammo. I'm not going to run the clip-on, so I'm just going to aim off kind of far to the right to make sure I don't come anywhere near the rifle that's out there. So here we go. Okay, so that's the B&T print, I believe it is. This is the Silencershop exclusive can. Alrighty, so what I saw by eye, the first 2 rounds, there was a decent amount of flash, and then it calmed down for the last 2. Another very common question is green phos versus white phos night vision. So typically on the market, you'll see the green phos priced lower than the white, and the white, to me, is kind of a newer, maybe generation of night vision, but let's just take a look and see what we can see through each. So right now, you're looking through my kind of older PVS 27. This is a green phos. This is a unit I purchased used for something like $4,500 or so. So what you see downrange right now to the upper right of my crosshair is a full-size IPSC, and we are at, let me just range that with the Raptor, 350 yards right there. So nothing crazy far. I'm zoomed all the way down to 4 power on this Element Nexus. So if I zoom in, you know, there, I mean, I could still clearly take a shot with that. We turn on the flood. So there's IR flood, kind of washes that plate out. It's really quite bright out tonight, almost a full moon, so really don't need flood. Let me go all the way up to 25 power just so you can see what that looks like. And right now, that is as bright as it'll go. So that's 25 power. You can clearly see the plate. Not super clean though. So let's zoom all the way back down to 4 power and let's just look up in the mountains. So if I go up into the mountains, you can see those rocks. Let me scan left. Let's just range these rocks right here for you. So that rock's at 872 yards. Kind of look up in the mountain. So there's kind of a view of the green phos for you let's range that rock up there. 980, let's zoom in on it. So looking pretty good. Okay, let's come back to our plate, which is sticking out like a sore thumb right there, and swap over to green, or over to white, I mean. Just like that, I have swapped over to the white phos PVS 27 from the boys at See the Night. This thing is absolutely insane. So let's just take a look and see what we can see. So you can see such a different image. I mean, this is just so much easier on the eye. So my scope is currently at 4 power. I'm looking at my full-size IPSC kind of to the upper right of my crosshair. Let's just zoom in on that all the way up to 25 power. PVS 27 is on the brightest setting, just like the green phos was. I really probably need to run it there for the camera, but we could tone that back because it is quite bright on my eye. But there's 25 power on that full-size IPSC. We'll just range that, make sure we get the same number. 358. 358. Now it is worth noting my PVS 27 actually has a pretty major point of impact shift, so could be part of the difference. This one's very little. So there we are, back down at 4 power. Let's just zoom around and go up and look into the up into the mountains so you can see just a lot of detail there. Scan back across our plate. There it is. Now when I shoot at night, I like to paint my targets black. That one's actually painted white, but a black target would really stick out. See how nice these rocks stick out as a dark color? My plate would do the same if it were black. Now we'll just go up and we'll look across these same mountains. There's that same rock that we ranged. 872. Let's go up here and find these. There we go. We're kind of up in this area. We'll zoom in on those. Let me make sure I'm focused up nice. Yeah, so there's the focus. You can kind of see that's blurry, blurry, focused up nice. Let's hit the illuminator on that. Okay, pretty useful actually. You can see, so check that out. That's kind of a, if I zoom out, so that's kind of a shady area. And let's just put some illumination right there on that rock. So you can get in there on that rock, we can tighten that beam up, really see what's going on. But if I flood like that, so that'll get in that shady area. All right, now if I zoom back out, you can still see in that shady area quite well. Let's go back over to our target and let's hit it with illumination. Okay, so there's kind of my target. You can see it there reflecting off, quite bright, but man, I tell you what, the image between white and green is just so different. The white is just amazing. And the tube in this PVS 27 is just unreal. I mean, the clarity there, look at that road. Let me turn off my illuminator. That road is just so much easier on the eye. So the final question I want to cover is, what are you getting for the price when you purchase, say, a premium unit like the white phos from See the Night versus a lower cost used unit, say that I have here? So just for reference, the used unit that I'm running here is a green phos unit. I found it online. It cost me something like $4,500. The white phos demo unit that we used in the video where you saw the downrange footage, that was from See the Night. And that unit's going to cost you $10,000 plus. It's going to depend a little bit on the specs of the tube, but typically those units are going to be $10,000 plus. So quite a bit of price difference there. So what do you get for that, and do I think it's worth it? Well, I tell you what, just initial impressions, when I look through my unit being a used green phos with who knows what tube in it, who knows how many hours of use, versus that white phos unit from See the Night, my initial impression is, holy cow, that white phos unit is unbelievable. And in my opinion, yes, it is a very noticeably nicer unit to look through. Yes, it's white phos. So white phos to me is going to be an advantage over green phos. I prefer that. But the other thing that you're going to get when you work with See the Night and Sureshot night vision will be a hand-selected tube. So sure, it's going to be a high FOM, which means it's going to be a clear tube. It's going to give you a nice image. But what they do when they put a tube in these PVS 27s, they're actually going to hand pick that tube for clip-on work. And what they're going to be looking at is imperfections in the tube within your magnified image. So if there's an imperfection in this tube and it's close to, say, the center of your crosshairs or down below where you might be holding over, you're going to find that very annoying. So See the Night is going to hand pick those to make sure the tubes that go in these clip-ons are free of imperfections, especially in the center area where you're going to be looking to try to make a shot. So the tube selection is going to be one. The next piece will be warranty and confidence in the unit. So given I bought this unit used, I have no clue what my warranty or repair process is. Frankly, it would likely be going through someone like See the Night and Sureshot Night Vision to get this repaired if something ever happened. You purchase that unit from See the Night, you're going to get a warranty from them. For functionality, that's going to be lifetime as well as collimation. So collimation is when you put this clip-on on, what does it do to your point of impact downrange? See the Night is going to guarantee 1 MOA. And in my experience, that's what that unit was doing. This used unit, it's massive. It's like a 0.7 or 0.8 mil shift to the right as well as 0.2 down. So well over 1 MOA shift with this used unit. So when you go with See the Night, you're going to get a guarantee on collimation of 1 MOA for the lifetime of that unit. So quality of tube, functionality, collimation, and the final piece will be they've got these units in stock. There's no wait. So See the Night and Sureshot, they're working to make sure they have shelves stocked up so that when you want to purchase a unit, they're able to get that order out the door within a reasonable time frame. So you're not going to have to wait a year to get yourself a nice white phos clip-on. So those are going to be kind of the main things that I see when you go with See the Night and what they're going to do for the price that those units command. Functionally, for me, the big thing is the clarity in the image that you see downrange. You saw me earlier this summer shoot that white phos demo unit over 1,000 yards and make impacts. I could not do that with this green phos unit. So just the tube clarity is the biggest difference there. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap up. Well, there you have it. A look at the top 5 frequently asked questions that I get asked around long range after dark. You've got to let me know in the comments down below, what did you think about what we saw in this video? How crazy is it that the tiny flash that's coming out of the end of the suppressor shows up so obvious through night vision? Or weapon mounted laser rangefinder signature. If you're running that visible laser, it is a dead giveaway for your position. But on the flip side of that, what I learned in this video is the amount of reflection that's coming off the front lens, say of a clip-on device or off the front lens of your laser rangefinder, just a tiny glint shows up so obvious in night vision. It's a dead giveaway for your position. So I had no clue the value of something like an anti-reflection device on these lenses even after dark. That's the craziest thing to me. Let me know what you thought about that. You know, a white light, being able to push that out to at least 400 yards, maybe a little bit further, but that was way further than I suspected. That HOG, that light was pretty nuts. Super tight beam on a white plate, it was very obvious. Again, I was pretty impressed with how far I was actually able to shoot. The white light was challenging because of the amount of smoke and gas you get that kind of blocks your image. But I tell you what, a cost-effective option for shooting after dark, a white light will still get the job done. Green phos versus white phos, you know, I hadn't really run those side by side until this video. And I tell you what, that white phos is so much easier on your eye. It is just such a better or cleaner image. It doesn't feel as stressing, and I feel like I'm actually getting a much nicer image through the white phos. So, yep, this unit right here is green phos, and it works. It's fine for the price, but man, if you're looking for the absolute nicest image, that's going to be white phos, in my opinion. And then finally, you know, to wrap it up, the boys over at See the Night, Sureshot Night Vision couldn't have done this without them. If you find yourself interested in picking up your own long-range night vision clip-on, make sure you check them out. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. Drop a comment down below, like it. I'd love to engage with each of you. Maybe there's some other things that I didn't cover in this video that you want to see me tackle in a future one. And then finally, if you like this content, make sure you're subscribed. Every time you subscribe, it's going to encourage me to pump out that fresh new content. So thanks for watching. I hope you'll join me in my next video.